When a man finally stops chasing, something shifts. Not just in her, but in the entire balance of the relationship. Suddenly, the power she once held slips through her fingers. She begins to notice everything she used to take for granted. Your consistency, your effort, your presence. And in that moment of absence, something happens. She doesn't just miss you, she questions herself. Because it's not your silence that hits hardest, it's the absence of her control over you. You see, modern relationships operate on a fragile scale of attention and validation. And when you stop handing yours out freely, she feels it. Deeply, she starts to wonder, why isn't he calling? Why is he so distant? Has he moved on? And the irony, she never expected you to leave. Most men stay. They wait, they chase, they beg for one more shot. But a man who walks away with dignity, a man who chooses self-respect over obsession, that man becomes unforgettable. Today, we're diving deep into what happens when you take back your power and how that one choice shifts everything. If you're tired of begging for breadcrumbs and ready to command true respect, this video will change the way you see her and yourself. Let's begin. Type "I choose me" in the comments. If you're done chasing, subscribe now and join a growing community of Stoic men who rise, rebuild, and never beg again. Number 1. The shift in dynamics. The moment you stop chasing her, the dynamic begins to shift, not just a little, but in ways most men never see coming. You think it's just about pulling back your attention, but what's really happening is far deeper. You're flipping the script. You're reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sense of self. You're shifting the balance of power not by force, not through manipulation, but through presence and discipline, and that, right there, is where most men fail. Because in today's world, where attention is currency and validation is everywhere, most men give too much of both. They over-invest, they over-explain, they over-pursue. They think that by doing more, texting first, planning the dates, checking in constantly, they're proving their worth. But what they're really doing is showing her that she's more important than they are. And that's when the respect starts to fade. Because here's the harsh truth. The more effort you give without her earning it, the less she values you. Women don't respect what's handed to them on a silver platter. They respect what feels earned, what feels rare, what feels like it could be lost. If you've spent your life chasing, you already know how exhausting it is. You end up drained, invisible, frustrated, but that doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means you've been playing the game all wrong, because women are wired to test, to challenge, to press up against your emotional edges, not to break you, but to see if you'll bend. And when you're always available, when you respond immediately, when you validate her before she earns it, you fail that test every time. You tell her without saying a word that her attention matters more than your dignity. And once she senses that, the dynamic collapses. She won't say it outright. Most women won't, but you'll feel it. She'll pull back. She'll get distracted. She'll stop investing. Why? Because you became predictable, expected, abundant. And here's where it gets interesting. When you pull back, not out of spite, but from clarity, she starts to feel it. At first, she might not notice. She's used to your presence, your messages, your effort, your emotional availability. But when the days stretch on and your name no longer lights up her screen, something clicks. She begins to question, Not just what happened, but why. Why did you stop chasing? Why isn't he calling? Did he lose interest? Did I lose him? And that's where the power begins to return to you. Because now, for the first time, she's reflecting, not reacting. Now, she's feeling the weight of your absence. And make no mistake, your absence is heavier than any words you could have said. Let's talk about modern relationships for a moment. We live in a world where attention is cheap. Social media, dating apps, DMs from strangers. It's a flood of shallow validation, and most women are swimming in it. But here's the secret: no one tells you. None of that attention matters, because it's easy, it's fleeting, it costs them nothing. What truly impacts her is the man who walks away, the man who values his time too much to waste it, the man who doesn't need her validation to feel whole. That's the man she remembers. Not the one sending heart emojis at midnight. Not the one begging for one more shot. The one who didn't respond. The one who stayed silent. The one who disappeared to build. You become that man the moment you stop chasing. You're no longer just another guy in her inbox. You're the one who got away. You're the one who broke the pattern. And that drives her crazy. Why? Because women crave certainty, but they're addicted to uncertainty. They want to feel secure, but only if they feel they've earned it. So when you pull back, when you stop giving freely, you become a question she has to answer. She replays your old messages. She rereads your last texts. She wonders what changed and what she missed. This isn't about manipulation. This is about balance, because for too long, you were doing all the work. And now, for the first time, she's feeling the shift. So, what does pulling back actually look like? It's not ghosting. It's not acting cold. It's not pretending to be someone you're not. It's about redirecting the energy you gave away and using it to rebuild yourself. Hit the gym, learn a skill, start a business, refocus your mind on what matters most. Because here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing her is the moment you start attracting her. And it's not magic, it's psychology. Women are drawn to men who are focused, composed, and driven. A man who chases nothing, yet attracts everything. Now think about this. If you're always texting, always calling, always planning, you're sending a loud, clear message. You have nothing better to do. That your life revolves around her. That she is your purpose. And while it might sound romantic in a movie, in real life, it's a turn-off. Because women don't want to be your purpose. They want to be part of a man who already has one. And when you stop chasing, she starts to look at you differently. She starts asking herself questions she's never had to ask before. Did I take him for granted? Did I push him away? Is he seeing someone else? Those questions trigger a sense of urgency, a fear of loss, a need to win you back. Suddenly, she's the one texting first. She's making plans. She's putting in effort. Why? Because she realizes your attention is no longer free. It's earned. And here's the most important part. Pulling back is not about punishing her. It's not a game. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop investing in someone who isn't giving back. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than mutual effort. Because when you truly embrace that mindset, you don't just become more attractive, you become untouchable. You stop needing validation because you found it within yourself. And that is when the dynamic truly shifts. Number 2, her emotional reactions. When you pull back, something inside her shifts, even if she doesn't show it right away. See, women are far more emotionally attuned than most men realize. They notice subtle changes. They feel shifts in tone, effort, and attention. And when you stop chasing, she feels it deeply. You may think you're just pulling back, but to her, you've removed a foundation she quietly depended on. Your energy, your effort, your attention. It created a sense of control. Now that it's gone, there's a void, and that void hits harder than most men ever expect. She may act unbothered. She may stay silent. She may even look happier online. But don't let appearances fool you. The absence you leave behind triggers a ripple effect, not because you were everything to her, but because you removed the part of the equation she controlled. Since the first time she posted a photo or opened a dating app, she's been flooded with attention, messages, compliments, validation. It's constant. It's expected, and most men hand it to her without her lifting a finger. But when you remove yourself from that crowd, when you stop behaving like the others, you immediately stand out, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're no longer chasing, and suddenly she notices not just your silence, but the emotional space you leave behind, and that space begins to echo. At first, she feels confusion. Why did he stop? Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he texting? She's used to being the prize, used to effortless pursuit, used to men keeping her comfortable, validated, and reassured. Now, your absence creates a question she feels compelled to answer. Confusion turns into curiosity. She wants to understand what changed, why the attention she once took for granted has vanished. And this curiosity leads to something even more dangerous for her: reflection. She begins to ask questions she hasn't considered before. Was I too cold? Did I take him for granted? Did I push him away? Is he seeing someone else? And as the reflection deepens, the truth becomes unavoidable. She realizes her behavior may have caused the distance. She starts to see where she was dismissive, distracted, or unappreciative. And with that realization, the power dynamic begins to flip. You're no longer the man chasing her. You've become the man she fears losing. And fear of loss is one of the strongest human emotions, especially in relationships. Because deep down, she knows something most women won't admit. A man who walks away, who refuses to chase, who doesn't need her approval, is rare. Most men beg, most men chase, most men crumble when ignored. But not you. You disappeared without anger, without a fight, without a final plea. And that kind of calm detachment shakes her. Now, how does she respond? This is where it gets interesting. Women respond in a variety of ways when they feel the shift in power, and each one reveals something important about her psychology. Some will go silent. They'll pretend not to care. They'll act like they're too busy to notice. But make no mistake, silence is often not a sign of indifference. It's a test. She's waiting to see if you'll crack, if you'll break the silence first, if you're still under her control. She's watching, measuring your resolve. Others will take a more direct route. They'll reach out, a random message, a casual check-in, something like, "Hey, just thought of you," or "We haven't talked in a while." Don't fall for the trap. These aren't just friendly gestures. They're strategic. She's fishing for information, trying to gauge where you are emotionally. If she still has access to you, then there are the indirect moves. She'll post photos with other guys, upload quotes about moving on, even share throwbacks to times with you. Calculated moves designed to provoke jealousy, to pull you back in emotionally. And here's the part that most men miss. The moment you react, you lose. The moment you respond with emotion, with jealousy, with confusion, you hand the power back. But the most telling response of all, effort. When a woman feels like she's losing you, she'll start trying harder. She'll call. She'll text more. She'll become sweeter, more affectionate, more attentive. She may even change her appearance, wearing what you liked, styling herself differently, doing the things you used to compliment, not because she's in love, but because she's trying to reclaim the validation she once assumed would never go away. And now you're wondering, why does she care now? The answer is simple: scarcity. When something becomes scarce, its value rises. Your attention was once abundant and free. Now it's rare, and that makes it desirable. You've shown her that your time, energy, and effort are not infinite. They are reserved for those who earn it. And that shift, it changes everything. But here's the truth. You must never forget. Her reactions are not your responsibility. They are not a measure of your worth. They are a mirror reflecting the emotional storm caused by the absence of a man who values himself. You don't need to chase. You don't need to correct her emotions. You don't need to reassure her, play along, or answer her tests. You need to stay grounded, focused, detached, because this isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting your peace. This is about you reclaiming your time, your power, and your sense of self-worth. Let her react. Let her test. Let her try. Your job is not to respond. Your job is to rise. Because when you step back, you're not showing her your absence. You're showing her your value. And in doing so, you become something more than a memory. You become the man she never thought she'd lose. The man worth chasing. Number 3, staying composed. Staying composed is more than just a reaction. It's a reflection of who you are as a man. In a world that constantly tries to pull you out of character, a composed man becomes a rare force, respected, remembered, and quietly powerful. It's not about appearing emotionless. It's about knowing how and when to use your emotions, and, more importantly, when not to. In every relationship, every room you walk into, every challenge you face, your composure speaks louder than any words. It tells the world, I know who I am, and nothing outside of me can shake that. Now, let's bring it back to modern relationships, because this is where most men lose control. Today, we live in a time where reactivity is the norm, where people are praised for quick comebacks, clapbacks, and hot takes, where emotions are used like weapons thrown without thought, received without shield. And in that chaos, most men crumble. They feel the need to respond, to defend, to win the argument, prove their worth, explain themselves into exhaustion. But here's the truth. A woman doesn't test you because she wants to destroy you. She tests you because she wants to know if you're solid, if you're grounded, if you're the kind of man who won't collapse the moment she pulls back, raises her voice, or throws a curveball, whether consciously or not. Oh, every woman challenges your frame. She'll say something provocative. She'll mention another man. She'll withdraw her affection. She'll accuse you of things you didn't do. And in that moment, you're standing at a crossroads. You can either react emotionally, just like every other man she's dealt with, or you can hold the line. You see, when you react, when you chase, when you beg, when you plead, you validate her power over you. But when you stay calm, when you lean back instead of forward, you send a completely different message. My state of mind does not depend on you. That is magnetic. That is stoic. That is masculine. Let's make this clear. Staying composed is not about playing cold or robotic. It's not about suppressing every emotion. It's about mastering them, controlling your reactions because you control yourself. Let me give you an example. You're in a heated moment. She's throwing accusations, throwing shade, throwing tests. She wants to see if she can knock you off center. Most men panic. They raise their voices, try to clarify, try to prove their innocence. They fall into the trap of emotional chaos. They start explaining, backpedaling, drowning in over-communication. But the man who remains composed, he listens. He doesn't flinch. He speaks few words, but every word is rooted in clarity and calm. That man becomes unforgettable. Why? Because he's rare. Because he doesn't get shaken like the others. Because he doesn't fight for approval. He already owns his worth. Here's what women understand, even if they don't admit it. A man who stays composed is a man who's not controlled by her. And that is what makes her respect you, even desire you. Now let's dig even deeper. Because this isn't just about how you react to her, it's about how you react to life. A composed man doesn't just stay calm with women. He stays calm when money is tight, when stress hits, when other men try to provoke him, when setbacks hit his business, his body, or his sense of direction. This isn't performance. This is foundation. This is the Stoic mindset in action. He walks with purpose. He breathes with clarity. He leads not by shouting, but by staying grounded when others shake. Let's return to her perspective for a second. Imagine she starts pulling away. The texts slow down. The energy changes. The warmth fades. Most men would panic. They'd send long messages. They'd try to re-engage, restart, rekindle. They'd act out of fear, hoping to fix the shift. But you notice the distance, but you don't chase. You don't flood her phone. You increase the space. You refocus on your purpose. You hit the gym. You double down on your business. You sharpen your edge. And when she comes back, and she will, you don't ask where she's been. You don't throw guilt. You simply say, "I've been busy." That's it. Simple, unbothered, strong. Because real composure is quiet. It's felt, not announced. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't seek applause. It just is. And in that silence, she feels something she's never felt from other men. Stability, structure, a calm presence in a world of noise. That's the kind of man women chase. Not because he's playing games, but because he's playing life at a different level. Let's take this even further. Staying composed is a discipline, not a tactic. It's a lifestyle, not a script. It's not something you put on when she's around. It's something you build when she's not around. The man who remains composed when tested in love is the same man who stays focused when business falls through, when friends disappoint, when life doesn't go as planned. That man doesn't just attract women, he commands respect. He becomes a force, and not because he's loud, but because he doesn't bend. So the next time she tests you, the next time she withdraws, provokes, or tries to shake you, remember this: you are the mountain. not the storm. Let her words blow. Let her silence stretch. Let her uncertainty echo. You stay grounded. You stay firm. You stay composed. Because when you do, you're not just the man she respects. You're the man she can't forget. Number 4. How to handle the shift. When the balance of power shifts, when she starts chasing, when her energy flips from cold detachment to sudden pursuit, most men stumble. They fall right back into old patterns. They overthink. They get emotional. They get caught up in the illusion that they've won, but not you. You're here to learn how to handle the shift with strength, clarity, and control, because this isn't about revenge, and it's not about games. It's about how you respond when the very thing you once chased suddenly turns and starts chasing you. That moment, when she texts first, when she compliments you again, when she brings up memories you thought she forgot. That's not a victory. That's a test of your growth, a test of your discipline, a test of your self-worth. Because, here's the truth, a woman coming back doesn't mean she's changed. It doesn't mean she's realized your value. Sometimes, it just means she's afraid of losing the attention you once gave so freely. You need to slow down and observe not just what she's doing, but why she's doing it. Is her effort rooted in genuine reflection, or is it panic? Is she truly drawn to the man you've become, or is she simply trying to avoid the discomfort of being ignored? These questions matter more than the butterflies in your chest, because if you don't pause to ask them, you'll fall back into the same dynamic that caused the imbalance in the first place. You'll chase. You'll please. You'll bend. You'll forget who you are just to win her back. But a man who's truly evolved knows winning isn't her return. Winning is the power to choose. So take a step back, breathe, and look at the situation for what it is, not for what your emotions wish it was. Ask yourself, does this woman align with my values? Can I build with her? Or does she drain more than she contributes? Is she stepping back in because she respects my growth? Or because she misses the comfort I used to provide? Don't answer with your heart. Answer with your standards. Because standards protect you from slipping back into old versions of yourself. And here's the truth most men miss. Not every woman who returns deserves a seat in your life. But let's say she is sincere. Let's say you see change. Let's say you believe in a second chance. Then good. But you need to set the tone, because the new dynamic cannot mirror the old one. This time, your attention is earned. This time, your time is not given without effort. This time, you are the prize. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. If she slips back into entitlement, if she stops putting in effort, if she starts testing your boundaries again, you must be ready to walk, not to prove a point, but to protect your self-respect. Because the moment you allow her to cross lines without consequence, the moment you compromise your boundaries for the sake of comfort, that's the moment you lose the power you worked so hard to reclaim. You teach people how to treat you. So, teach her this. Your time is sacred, your energy is not free, and your presence is earned. And if she proves unworthy of it, then let her go. Not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with strength, composure, and dignity. Walking away isn't weakness. It's clarity. It's knowing that peace matters more than nostalgia. It's knowing that not every hand that reaches for you deserves to be held. And when you walk away with your head high, you're not just respecting yourself, you're teaching her what true masculinity looks like. Because the beauty of the shift is this: for the first time, the choice is yours. You're no longer reacting, you're deciding. And that power, that ability to choose instead of chase, that's what separates men who lead from men who follow. Number 5, the power of focused detachment. At the center of every transformation in a man's life, every regained sense of strength, clarity, and control, there lies one powerful principle: focused detachment. This isn't about becoming cold. It's not about shutting off your heart or pretending you don't care. It's about stepping into the kind of control most men never master. It's about understanding that your time, your energy, and your peace of mind are not things you hand out like free samples. They're earned. And if something or someone no longer aligns with your path, you walk away. True detachment isn't passive. It's not about apathy. It's intentional. It's a conscious decision to prioritize your own growth, peace, and purpose over the emotional roller coasters that come from chasing things that aren't chasing you back. When you master focused detachment, something incredible happens. You no longer look outward for validation. You don't need her to text you back. You don't need her to approve, validate, or reciprocate, because you've already approved of yourself. And that's where the real shift occurs. You see, most men give away their power because they're afraid of loss. They think love means attachment, or that care means constant availability. But Stoicism teaches otherwise. You can care without clinging. You can give without losing yourself. You can love deeply and still be willing to walk away if it violates your values. Focused detachment is the middle path between weakness and indifference. It says, I'm open, but not dependent. I value connection, but I won't abandon myself for it. And women, whether they realize it or not, respect this energy deeply, not because it's manipulative, but because it signals strength, self-respect, and a grounded masculine presence. You stop being the man who chases. You become the man who chooses. You're not controlled by desire. You're in control of it. When you detach, you remove the pedestal. You see things clearly. You start to notice, is this relationship draining or elevating me? Is she respecting my standards or testing them? Am I growing in this space or slowly fading? These are the questions of a focused man, and these questions protect your life. Detachment gives you freedom. Freedom from false hope. Freedom from emotional traps. Freedom from trying to fix things that never respected your effort to begin with. And with that freedom comes a new kind of attraction. You become magnetic. Why? Because in a world full of men who beg for attention, you're the one who walks calmly away. You don't chase closure, you become it. You don't argue, you detach. You don't demand to be chosen. You choose yourself. This is the power most men never access. But once you do, you'll never go back. Because when you embrace focused detachment, the wrong women disappear, the right women step forward, and you, finally, to become whole on your own terms. If this message hit home for you, if you're tired of chasing, explaining, overgiving, and being left empty, then make your stand right now. Type "I'm done" chasing in the comments below. Not just as a phrase, but as a declaration, a line in the sand, a commitment to stop giving your energy to what doesn't value you, and to start living as the man you were meant to be. If you want more content like this, real talk for real men, Support the mission by subscribing and turning on notifications. Every like, comment, and share tells YouTube this is the kind of content more men need to hear. Let's build something different. Not a channel, a brotherhood, a place where men stand tall, where we refuse to be emotional doormats, where we walk away from what insults our soul, and where we live with strength, focus, and quiet purpose. You're not alone. There are thousands of men on this path with you. Men who are rebuilding themselves, reclaiming their worth, and rising with every step. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and never settle, because the moment you stop chasing is the moment your power returns.